As I continue to work with digital businesses, I am just astounded by when they come to us looking to sell their business. And when I dig under the covers and start to see what's really going on and what they did to get to a certain level, which is a lot of work, because going from 0 to 1 million in sales or anywhere in between that is a lot of work. There's a lot of hurdles you got to overcome and a lot of technical challenges, and just getting that momentum is extremely hard. And I say this from personal experience. But once you get to that level, you kind of break to the next level of maturity, if you will. But then going from 1 to 10 or to keep that going is a lot harder. And the biggest mistake businesses make is they don't develop a relationship with either their leads or their customers, where customers have actually come in and made a purchase, whether it's for $1 or hundreds of dollars. That's the biggest thing that I see businesses, why they're not growing their business a little further. So when they do go to sell it, they're going to get us the most money for it. Because at the end of the day, when they've made a decision to sell, they want to cash out or they want to move on to something else. So they're just looking for something different. And there's a bunch of reasons around that inside of the business. But the biggest thing that I continually see where they don't develop that relationship with their leads or their customers, and that is leveraging email marketing, and now SMS kind of ties in with that as well. But if you just focus on email, what I'm astounded is when I now consult with businesses on helping them grow to get to that next level, and I ask them what they're doing with their leads that are coming in and or their customers, and I get some pretty common responses is either they typically don't email their list at all, or if they do, they put them into what's called a nurture sequence, meaning that we'll kind of develop a relationship. And then when I dig a little bit deeper, I find out, well, what does that consist of? I'll ask them that. And they'll say, I send them 3 or 4 emails, kind of getting them acclimated to our business, building that relationship. And then when I expand on that and say, do you make them an offer or a follow-up offer? So they've opted in, they've come into your world, they've opted in to receive something or started to buy something. And then if they send any emails, we'll send just a couple days worth of emails. And at that point, they'll kind of put them into a main bucket and then put them into a nurture sequence. And then at that point, they will typically just send them more offers about promotions. Then a lot of businesses will have the mindset of, I just have to discount my products for them to come back and sell. And obviously a discount is going to make someone more open to taking that action because you want them to buy something. But business owners get stuck in this trap of, I have to discount my prices all the time, which is really devaluing the business and the brand and your products, which is what you don't want to do. Because every business I talk to is very proud of their business and they think it's worth more, but because they've trained their audience or their customers or their leads, people are then going to wait for the next discount versus seeing the value that you can offer them and your current product or service offering. But when I dig deeper on finding out why business owners don't email their list more frequently, there's many reasons, but I'm going to cover the top 5 that I see. The biggest thing is they just don't understand the power and the full benefits of email marketing. And they just don't know how to drive engagement and again, to build that relationships, which is going to increase sales over time. But most business owners just lack that real grasp of the understanding of the power with that. The second reason I find is that they say there's just time constraints. They don't have the time. They're dealing with fires all the time. And so they just don't make the time or don't know how to make time to create more campaigns. And so they just get stuck in this loop of never ending, just not sending enough emails or any at all. And that kind of ties into being lack of resources because there's some strategy that's involved with this, some critical thinking in terms of what you want those people to experience with your brand, whether it's promoting one product or service or multiple ones in the back end of that. But this ties into the time constraints. And so business owners feel that they just don't have the resources or a budget or the ability to hire somebody. So therefore they can't do it. And therefore what happens is they just don't email the list, going back to then building that relationship. The third common reason that I see business owners tell me all the time is that they don't want to spam their list. they're so fearful of spamming their lists. And the email providers like Gmail, Yahoo, even AOL, all the different email platforms, Outlook, they keep making it harder to get in the inbox. But if you follow the rules and you don't spam people with just garbage, then you're going to be fine. And there's some technical things you have to do behind the scenes, but a lot of the email platforms that are out there now are going to cover you in that area. So you're not going to be hurt. And you may have to do a couple of extra things, but it's very straightforward. And they all have step-by-step processes to how to set that up. But again, that fear goes back to they're just so worried about spamming people. And it's just a false belief. Again, it comes back to these beliefs that we all have. I've had them as well. The other thing that people don't think about deep enough is just a lack of strategy. And this ties back to really not knowing who their customer is and what kind of experience do they want to create for them. They're doing is they want them to come in because they want to sell them a product or a service. And then the business owner a lot of times just stops right there. But they should be going very deep and coming up with a longer term strategy on what other products and services can they offer these customers, who these people are, what their challenges are, what their problems are. And that goes back to a lack of vision, a bigger picture. And because they don't have a strategy, they get overwhelmed and then they're dealing with day-to-day fires. And so they just don't, again, email that list enough. And the fifth reason a lot of business owners don't focus on emails is because they're focusing on other channels to kind of promote their products or service. So they think social media is where it's at, or influencer marketing is where it's at, or video marketing is where it's at. They keep chasing these new ideas in terms of growing their business and getting more customers. So they end up focusing on the new, always acquiring new customers instead of looking at the customers and the leads that they have. So they're focusing on other channels versus looking at the actual data that they've built up. And that's really sad. I see this time and time again. I'll talk to business owners that have not only thousands of emails, but they'll have tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of emails, and they don't leverage the power of that data. So if that sounds like you, where you are not focusing on building a long-term relationship with either your leads or your current customers, and these top 5 reasons are holding you back from developing that relationship and using email, I strongly encourage you to change your mindset on that and start looking at how you can use email to develop a relationship. Because I can guarantee if you do it the right way, you're going to create more revenue, which is going to give you more profit for your business, which is exactly what you're looking for. And then if you really want to go to sell it, it's going to be worth more money. And that's the thing that I see time and time again as business owners, because they're not thinking long-term. They're not thinking strategically. They're too short-sighted because they're dealing with fires or they're focusing on certain parts of their business. They leave so much money on the table. And that's really unfortunate because it's money that they want and they deserve because they built a business up with hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in revenue. And yet they end up leaving money on the table. So if that sounds like you, go ahead and click the link or the button somewhere around this video and we can get you started to move in the right direction. All right. Thanks.